Hey everybody, RDM update. That's what I'm trying to ship out today and tomorrow. Just some quick stuff to help me ship out. Slowly getting organized. But the big news is I shipped a lot already. Jim Wyckoff, your stuff is shipped for the most part. Got to do a little bit of touch up on your orders because you have so many. But these cranks are special. You see they have this little color here, and you may notice a little surface rust on the colored part. Doesn't hurt anything. The main parts that matter were cut after the rust. And basically, I put that color in there using the this one's very light, using that heat treat oven, and it burned away all the oil. And then from just storing them, they flash rusted. But then after that, oh, this was cut. The journals are good. These are special anti-rust sleeves. I put oil in there. I drop oil on there, so it's nice and oiled up. You do need to wash these cranks real good. Now, I did a lot of special things in these cranks. I don't want to give away all the details, but they're definitely harder. The hub strength that squeezes this pin is off the charts strong. And the reason I did this is because I'm talking to real crank manufacturers that all they do is build crankshafts, and I wanted to perfect the design, which I believe I did, and get every little last spec perfect so they can be produced by a proper crank manufacturer. That included, you know, dialing in the hardness, really dialing in this pinhole and the surface finishes, and really just speccing it out right. And yeah, they came out great. So I do have plenty left for sale, probably like 30 or 40. I'm going to update the store soon, but first I got to ship all those. And there's actually a lot more labels to be printed, but you know, I don't want to overwhelm myself. But another thing, 9-tooth, they came out great, and I didn't even list them, but I've been shipping them out with people. They're a little dirty. 9-tooth, 3/16 pitch, so you get the little bit wider chain. And again, they came out amazing. So yeah, a lot of people expect a lot of things to be coming, and I really appreciate everyone's patience. I had to balance it. I'm trying to also clean up out here. This is my mess. But yeah, another big thing is I may have trouble getting the power in here right away. I mean, I have a few options. None of them are great, mostly because it'll take time. So the good news is I'm going to be really focused on customer support, shipping on time, shipping what I have, and not expanding onto new things because the machines are going to be down. And it's going to really change things around here and completely flip my reputation. I'm going to be going from you can't ever contact me, I only send parts, I don't assemble things, to the opposite, where you can always reach me. I'm very receptive, and I do want to build engines for you. I also have a huge amount just from running this store for over like about 5 years. A lot of parts that just didn't fit on my store because it's not a product I sell. You know, even like custom sprockets and just all sorts of things. And I have a huge quantity of it. And I do now have a way of selling it. I'm going to put boxes together of alike parts and put a number on each box, and I'll just set a low price for everything. And it'll be a fun way to get rid of things. I do have a lot of inventory too. I'm going to start building wheels. And I'm going to keep the machines running somehow. I have actually friends around in the area. I have a lot of connections in the area. And I'll have some parts running their machines. And like I already said, the crankshafts, not only do I have a lot in stock, they are going to be, after this might be the last batch I make. You know, I already have to ship this to Florida. But yeah, I'm gonna get them made by a real crank manufacturer, and I'm just gonna control all the specifications really tightly. And yeah, I mean, so now that I have these things for sale, people get these, you can really put my cranks to the test. Now I get them about within one, but if you want to get them a little better, go ahead and get yourself a copper hammer and smack them and see what it takes to actually change this. You're gonna have to hit it probably two, 3 times harder than you thought you would have to hit it to actually change something. Now you take that same hammer that you go and straighten that crank, and take any other crank, anybody else's crank, and give it a half that hit, and you'll see it'll move a mile just in the lightest hit. And then you'll immediately find out what the difference is between this crank and this crank. This one, you need to smack it as hard as you can with a hammer like this. This one, you gave it a little baby tap and it moves a mile. I mean, you rev that engine up, there's no way it's gonna stay straight even if you straighten it. And yeah, basically also, I set up to do the bolt-on weights on these, but I made the material so hard, I literally couldn't get more than 50 holes out of a tap, and that's just not enough to be remotely economical. I would need to get at least 300 holes per tap. And yeah, so I mean, we're got a stronger crank, so performance-wise it's better, but we don't have the bolt-on weight. So I am gonna go and order water jet little rings that'll basically take up the space that these would have taken up. And we'll rough up with some 60 grit or 45 grit inside here and on the spacer, and we will epoxy them in to take up the space. Now that's actually not going to be a bad thing. We're going to give up a little bit of rotational inertia. And my new understanding and belief is that's not as bad as having low mass on the engine case. We actually want to make the engine cases a little bit heavier again. Some of my original generation I think ran better because they were more blocky and a little bit heavier. And that's why my new designs are going a little bit more in that direction, a little bit heavier and thicker. And then when we glue in this ring, it'll add some mass back. It'll stiffen up these cases. It might actually be better than if it was solid, because the epoxy might break up the natural frequency of the case and all, and it might make it a little more like a lead chunk that doesn't want to vibrate. Because really the enemy of these engines is anything ringing or any sort of vibrations. So mass alone does actually help with that. So yeah, that's out. Very happy with the cranks. Already got a ton of them shipped out, so you'll start seeing people posting about them. Very important you clean them really well, because with all the cranks, you can see the hammer sheds copper, and it like kind of spray paints the I mean, my floor glitters with copper, but this thing like spray paints the crank bearing with little copper dust. The copper's soft, it will get ground away, but I still recommend, I mean, clean these really good. Yeah, just use like 2-stroke mix. Use carb cleaner, use whatever you want, but just oil them when you're done. And yeah, with any of these parts, clean them. I mean, you're getting them from like the factory basically. These are not, they're almost like a product, but it really is still like you're ordering them straight from these rugged machines, and you know. But I'm going to change things. I'm going to actually package things a little bit better, get even more organized. But I had to figure out something with power, and that's why I've been away and just not even talking too much, because I don't even know what to tell anybody. And now I'm just going to tell people the truth that I don't even know what to tell anybody. I don't know when the machines are going to run, but I'm going to go work my network. I haven't done that yet. Start talking to people. And we'll see. I'm going to go check out a shop, I think, right now. And see a shop about 5 minutes away or so, and just start networking. See if anybody can maybe help me out. Maybe I can move a machine or two into their shop, because basically I need to otherwise get power from that telephone pole here. I thought the building would have suitable electricity, but oddly it only has single phase. I would like 3-phase. Now I could run a phase converter, but I got a lot of horsepower here, and now you're talking $5,000–6,000 for a homemade phase converter, and 10 plus for a store-bought one. And a phase converter is a compromise. So, but the good news is the rent here is cheap. Even if this is just a storage unit for me to ship out of, it's actually a good price. And if I have to, I'll get a job. That's definitely on the table. But yeah, I'm doing some shipping. We're gonna get a bunch more out, print more labels Monday. And I even got some engine builds. I'll probably maybe videotape the engine builds. But anyways, thanks everyone for your patience. Beautiful day out. Another big problem, oh yeah, before I go, this Haas, I had it, I thought sold, but it's no problem. You know, a couple times actually, and you know, maybe I'm not a good salesman, but I did sell 2 Akuma. But anyways, this machine's back for sale. It's a fantastic machine, it works. Low hours. I have a little aftermarket coolant pump. There's the coolant tank. But yeah, if anyone wants to help me sell the machine, 2006, there's the specs right there. VF1, 10K RPM, 30 horsepower gearbox machine. I can include the holders, or you can get your own. And this was running right up until the last day, you know, I moved, and it was blocked up. Okay guys, I need to get back to shipping.